Hi people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. February has been so good for me. I recently have finished 30 books this month, which is so awesome and so well done. And it's only the 26th, so I have a few more days to go. And I think I'll read a few more books. So anyway, without any further ado, the first book on this list is called A Good Kind of Trouble. This story is a YA contemporary following a young bisexual Australian Indigenous main character who tries to challenge racism at her high school. And I thought this book was so good. I think I had really low expectations because honestly, I don't really read a lot of Australian YA. The majority of YA and middle grade books that I read tends to be from American authors set in America, so I don't really read a lot set outside of America. But anyway, this book was excellent and I thought it was so well done. First of all, the queer sapphic romance was so cute and so well paced. I loved the characters and the plot and the friendships, and this book felt so lighthearted and so well done, while also the seriousness of the topic was done well too, and it was never downplayed or anything like that. This book overall was so good. It was so easy to read and easy to digest. So anyway, overall, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Crumble. This story is a middle grade urban fantasy graphic novel following a young main character whose magic allows her to bake emotions into the food. Except that when tragedy strikes, suddenly her magic isn't as sweet as it used to be. Does that make any sense? Anyway, this book was so cute and it was so adorable. Whenever I start a graphic novel and I'm immediately drawn in, no pun intended, by the adorable art, and the story seems so lighthearted at first, I'm always afraid that I'm only going to rate this book 3 stars. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, I do enjoy reading lighthearted books all the time, but sometimes the book feels too juvenile for me to rate it higher than 3 stars. Does that make any sense? But anyway, overall, this book was so good. The story was so much more deeper and emotional than I was expecting. The characters are so well developed and so distinct. I love the conversation surrounding grief. This book was so good. I loved the magic and the world building and the friendships and the characters and the art style and the illustrations and everything. This book is so good. It's so sweet and it's so wholesome. So anyway, overall, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Otherwhere Post. This story is a YA fantasy following a young main character who's trying to discover the truth behind her father's innocence, or rather alleged innocence. This book was good, but it was rather mid, and honestly, the magic system, for example, was intriguing at first, but I think it needed more depth, especially towards the end. The issue about info dumping is that it means that the world building is told to the reader rather than shown, and in fantasies, I think that more things need to be shown rather than told. Does that make any sense? Although I will say, when I write my own book and it's public and everything, I might be eating my words with my writing style. So please keep that in mind. This is not super serious. But anyway, this book overall, I would say that I preferred the author's debut, which is really interesting because I also rated that book 3 stars. But anyway, I enjoyed the mystery, although sometimes it was predictable. The plot was intriguing. The romance is cute, I see how one could escape into this book. I just didn't. So anyway, overall, this book was very mid, very basic, very much 3 stars. So take that as you will. The next book on this list is called Hunger's Bite. This story is a YA historical fiction graphic novel, although I'm quite hesitant to label it as a historical fantasy, just because the time period is never explicitly stated, although they do reference the Titanic within the beginning of the book, so I'm assuming that it's meant to be early 20th century, especially concerning the boat setting and the technology of the boat itself. You know what I mean? But anyway, this book was so good. It follows two best friends as they encounter something otherworldly. And it's so exciting and it was so thrilling. First of all, the illustrations were so vibrant. I loved all of the colors. Like, it's so good. The story itself was excellent. I loved the friendship. The two characters are both so well developed and so distinct. I loved the vampire side character. Like, everything about this book was so good and so enticing and so riveting. And I was truly intrigued from the beginning to the end. Everything about this book was so well done. So anyway, with that said, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. And I would definitely highly recommend it. The last book on this list is called Tear This Down. This story is a middle-aged contemporary following a young main character who makes a decision to speak out against a historical hometown figure. And honestly, I didn't like this book very much, but like, as much as I enjoy reading books about activism and like challenging historical figures whom everybody else thinks is super cool, but then you discover something problematic in their history, like, I usually love stories like that. But, like, sometimes I have to take a step back and realize that, like, books like these, I'm often not the audience for them. Does that make any sense? Like, if I were to write a story about something like this, I would have included other things, such as, like, race and disability into the story. So it kind of annoyed me the main character didn't mention, like, I don't know, her white privilege or anything like that. And maybe her friends were queer and POC and disabled, possibly, and that just wasn't brought up. I don't know. I think that there were so many missed opportunities to talk about, like, intersectionality and privilege and race or disability and the ways in which, like, different types of people are oppressed. But it just, like, I don't know, it was giving, like, white feminism. Does that make any sense? I feel like it doesn't. And not to say that, like, people of color weren't included in the story, it just felt like there could have been more of it. Does that make any sense? Anyway, I rated the story 3 stars because it felt very surface level, but, like, maybe I should have expected that? I don't know. The plot was intriguing. I enjoyed the storylines regarding, like, her family and her friendships and everything. I just felt like the main topic itself could have been deeper, just in general, but I don't know. Anyway, I rated this story 3 stars. So in conclusion, I think that the last time I talked to you about my February reading month, I felt like I said that it was steady. And in other words, before today, I kind of felt like it was mid as well. But anyway, lately it has greatly improved because now that I've read more books in the month than there are days in the month. You know what I mean? Anyway, in conclusion, February has been good to me. I hope that this sets the precedent for the next few months. So anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the cherry emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.